Ladies and gentlemen, the Anonymous Librarian is proud to present an extract from Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. There exists a limit to the force even the most powerful may apply without destroying themselves. Judging this limit is the true artistry of government. Misuse of power is the fatal sin. The law cannot be a tool of vengeance, never a hostage, nor a fortification against the martyrs it has created. You cannot threaten any individual and escape the consequences. Moedeep on the Law, the Stilgar Commentary. Ladies and gentlemen, miscreants, mollifiers, I am the Anonymous Librarian. You can call me now. And welcome to the show, to another reading update. We're moving along in the month of June. It's going good. I'm actually starting to surpass some of the things I was planning on reading. Just reading and I'm starting to. Let's redo that one. That got confusing. I'm actually starting to run through my TBR. My TBR for June is running out. I'm starting to start extra stuff. I have to do extra stuff. But you understand. I'm sure you get it. I don't need to explain more to you. Let's just start. Let's start with what I have been reading this past week in the comics and manga. First off, I finished One Piece, Volume 5. The one where they scream like idiots, Luffy and Usopp. But because they are idiots, like I've said before. Okay, last week it just kind of ended with the fight. When I was finished, I was halfway through this volume basically last week. Well, you understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? The last update I was like halfway through, and I was like, okay, it looks like we're getting to the end now. Yeah, we got to the end. We finally moved off the island. But I will say, the final payoff, it did fix a lot of the issues I had to some degree with it, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the final resolution to Usopp's pirates and Usopp's story himself, or that whatever. You understand what I was trying to say there, right? Then we move into the next little bit of where we're going, and that stuff I love so much. That's now really where I'm now fully into stuff I've never seen the show for. I don't know what, so I am oblivious to what's about to happen. Yeah, oblivious. That's probably the right word to use here. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. There's this. We had a restaurant on the sea. I don't know if that's a spoiler. And it's free chef, and I am enjoying that a lot. Man, I am really excited to go on. Now I'm back. I'm so back into One Piece after this volume finished and the stuff that happened in here. And I'm so excited to see what comes next. Yay! How happy is that? A week of reading One Piece with no complaints. Can you believe that? So when I was down there, I picked up, as of course, Saga Volume 5. Oh, this compendium is so heavy. I'm halfway done with this at this moment, so I've read 3 chapters. I still have 3 chapters to go with the Volume 5. It's Saga. It is Saga. It is Saga. Like I said, where it stopped last time, it looked really exciting for what is going to happen next. And yeah. And it's never exactly, like, in some ways Saga doesn't play like, it feels in some ways more like a manga than the comic, or it does feel like a combination of what's based in mangas and what's based in comics, all put together. There's like detours being taken that I wasn't expecting, but it is called Saga. It has to be a scope. I'm enjoying the new characters that we are finding here. It's fascinating, and there was a little bit of a heart rate. If you can make a moment both heart rating and really funny at the same time, that is a talent. And where I left off last week, yesterday, that's exactly what happened. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, yeah, no, it's Saga. Who cannot like it? Who cannot like Saga? My one friend. I have one friend that like he's the biggest comic book nerd on earth, but he hates Saga. Saga's like one of the ones he doesn't like at all. It's like, what is wrong with you? This is the greatest stuff ever, ever. No man. So yeah, I am enjoying that a lot. And okay, I'm gonna finish that pretty soon. In like 2 days, 3 days time, like today, 2 days from now, I'll be done with it. So I will have some more time. I'll have time for another manga in this month, and then I've decided to pick up something that was not on my TBR because yeah. So Yokohama Kadashi Kiko. Oh, that name's a bit shiny there. Let me try to see. Sorry. It's very cloudy here today, so I had to put the lights on. I couldn't just use natural light. Some of the stuff might, but I do love that cover. Yeah. And let me read this. Since this was not on the it's a mouse pad. But that's a beautiful cover, right? Hey, since this was not actually on my TBR and I haven't read to you what it's about, let me do it now because I'll definitely finish this still in this month. Well, it's beautiful, eh? Now I can see. Okay. So the name is Yokohama Kadashi Kiko. Story and art by Hitoshi Ashinano. Okay. I hope I said that as close to right as right. Hey. A quiet cup of coffee as the world winds down. I mean, when I read that, I found this thing on special. I bought it for way cheaper than it should have been. Like it should be costing 500 Rand. I bought it for 75 Rand because it was like a big sale that I had to get rid of a bunch of books. And I was just lucky to get this. How great. This line is what sold me on buying this. A quiet cup of coffee as the world winds down. Okay. In a future Japan, long after an environmental catastrophe, Alpha, the android, runs a small cafe in a seaside town. As she wonders if her absent owner will ever return, she stands witness to the twilight of humanity with coffee, a slice of watermelon, and the sound of her moon guitar. Alpha and her neighbors enjoy the melancholy beauty of life, even as the end approaches. Okay, then Savior chapters 1 to 24 of this beloved manga classic in English for the first time with volume 1 of a deluxe 5-volume set. Yeah. 7 Seas Entertainment. Oh, that just sounds awesome and fascinating. And I feel like this one is a dark horse because I don't know what to expect, but it sounds kind of, it sounds both quirky, melancholy, but like upbeat, even though the world is going away, human society is collapsing. The juxtaposition of that, reading that, just looking at this cover art and a little bit of so, I think this might be a dark. Can this thing be a dark horse and supplant Saga or Vinland Saga as the winner of the month? Huh? I have to say, this month is with the mangas and the comics are proving quite competitive. And that one is for me a real dark horse. That could be my favorite new thing ever. Like Freedom suddenly just blew up an anime now. Like Freedom's my favorite thing ever. Or I was just like, oh, it was fun, but it was nothing special. I'm curious. I can't wait to see. I need to put my glasses back on so that you guys. I don't like it when you see my eyes. You don't deserve to see my eyes. Yeah. Okay. So that is what was for the comics and manga, and what I'm gonna read for the comics and manga. Let's move on to the non-fiction. Let me take a sip of coffee first. Yeah, and my coffee's on. The Life of St. Anthony. I finished The Life of St. Anthony by St. Athanasius of Alexandria. Translated by H. Ellershaw. Also, it's fascinating. How much of this is propaganda? How much of this is actually true? Anthony existed, but he seems like a really fascinating guy. And I mean, it's hard to be too critical on it as a writing thing because it was a letter, right? It was meant as a letter. It wasn't some crafted piece of work. But the stuff in it is fascinating. It is fascinating and crazy, and there's a lot of moments in here that you could really make an interesting screenplay out of this and out of the life of Anthony. and like of what is said about a life of Anthony, depending on how much you take it. Still battling some demons, still saying something, still having some opinions, arguing with philosophers. I enjoyed it. It's not the end of be all. It's not supposed to be that either, but it's very fascinating. Really, if you want to know a little bit more of how the Christian writers of that time, this is the 300s, 300 BCE. No, not BCE. The B A. Huh? What's the one after? Like what it used to be 80? Is it still 80? Yeah, this is 80 then. This is like a 380 in the third century. After that, I also picked up. I read. This is not the Heart of Darkness, but the Congo Diary, which is also in here that Joseph Conrad read. This is also one of those. It's a diary. It's like literal diary. It's not rewritten again to make it more fluent. It's just these actual diary entries, which is at sometimes it's about like stuff he was seeing and stuff, but most of it is just like how the river looks, and now it's almost a guide going into the thing, not which it is more a curiosity than anything else. It's not supposed to be a piece of literature, so I find it fascinating. I would say people, if you've liked the Heart of Darkness and you want to get a little bit of what did the guy experience, get it the first one of the two diaries, and this is very short, right? This is why I finished it. I didn't even read a lot of it today, and I still finished it in like 4 or 5 days. 4 days, I think, yeah. But there's some interesting stuff related to it, where you kind of get the humor that you found in Heart of Darkness here. You kind of get a little bit of that as well, and then some of the stark things. But then mostly, especially the second volume, is just literally how the river looks down. But then you can kind of realize how treacherous it must have been to go through this river. So it's more interesting than anything else. I didn't even give it like a rating out of 5 on Goodreads because you can't. It's impossible to rate that. So that's what I read on Nonfiction this week. So I'm done with those. And that was all the nonfiction I was planning to read this month. So I still have some time for a bit more nonfiction. I decided I want to do a reread of something I read many years ago. It's going to be Christopher Hitchens' The Missionary Position. Mother Teresa in theory and in practice. Let me read for you what this is about. As you see, it feels like I'm almost doing a TBR here just for the end of the month, so it's running out. But I'd rather do it like this. I don't want to do the main month again where I'm struggling my ass off to finish everything. Okay, forward by Thomas Mellon. Okay, and then this is a quote from the Sunday Times. They also put in up here. Let me read this as well. A dirty job, but somebody had to do it. By the end of this elegantly written, brilliantly argued piece of polemic, it is not looking good for Mother Teresa. Okay. What's it about? In this frank and damning expose of the Mother Teresa cult, Hitchens probes the source of the heroic status bestowed upon an Albanian nun whose only declared wish was to serve God. He asks whether Mother Teresa's mission to help the world's poor answered any higher purpose than the need of the world's privilege to see someone, somewhere, doing something for the third world. Hitchens unmasks pseudo-miracles, questions Mother Teresa's fitness to adjudicate on matters of sex, and reveals a version of saintly ambiguity which affords genial relations with dictators, corrupt tycoons, and convicted frauds. Was Mother Teresa merely a salve to the conscience of the affluent West, or an expert PR machine for the Catholic Church? In its caustic iconoclasm and unsparing wit, The Missionary Position showcases the devastating effect of Hitchens' writing and its polemical best. Hitchens' writing at its polemical best. And this is like a thing about Hitchens. Quite possibly the most brilliant journalist of his generation, the Daily Mail. Hitchens argues his case with consummate style. New York Times. I remember enjoying reading this. It's a very short one. That's why I picked it up, because I know I'm going to easily finish it before the end of the month. I mean, also this, the name, The Missionary Position, is a double entendre. You know, I know. See, I know things. You guys think I tell you I'm a genius, and then you say like, no, you're not a genius. I remember enjoying this book. Okay, let's get by that fact. Like, stop arguing. I'm a genius, and I just proved it by knowing what a double entendre is. I started, but I've read it so long ago. I wanted to read, and now that I'm a bit older, I know a little bit more, a lot more, to be frank. How do I experience it now? The revelations and the stuff in there, and do I feel Hitchens was a bit too harsh or what? Now, see, it's always interesting to go back and look at something there. And so that is it for the non-fiction. Non-fiction. Then let's move on to the mundane fiction. And yeah, I've still been working my way through This River Awakens by Steven Erikson. Ooh, yeah. At this point, I'm so drawn to this book. I just want to pick it up and keep reading, keep reading. At the same time, I am very scared. I still have like 150 pages to go. I am very scared getting to the end of this. I really am scared. Because I, the way Erikson can show you kind of humanity and sometimes in its worst, and then at times show you beauty that you didn't even think about existing in the world. This is like, and nothing is predictable in here. Erikson, he subverts your expectations on it, but never in a way that you're like, that's ridiculous, that wouldn't really happen. No, you can believe it, and how the revelations, and I'm not like, no, I'd rather have a realistic ending than a happy ending in a story. I'd rather have something that makes sense than I want there to be a happy ending so bad in this story. I really want these characters to have a happy ending, especially everything they've gone through. And I'm just so scared because I don't know if it's gonna happen. And that's the talent of a really great artist. I am terrified of reading the rest of this, and yet I am flying through it at the same time. It is such a joy. I'm probably gonna finish this in, if not in like 4 days, maybe even 2 days. Who knows about reading? But just the amount I've been reading about this for the last couple of days, as it sucks me in. Stunning piece of work. This River Awakens, Steven Erikson. Steven Erikson. He is solidifying himself as my favorite writer again. Yeah, that book should be way more popular. Let's move on to the sci-fi and fantasy. Yes, I did finish Dune Messiah, and I read from it as you guys heard earlier. I'm almost scared. I feel like this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not about. I'm not saying anything that happens. But Dune Messiah kind of reads like a very long epilogue to Dune, and I love it. It's amazing. I really enjoy this. It's surprising, fascinating, haunting, beautiful, and Herbert's the world he created and the way they talk and use words. Man, there's really a guy that used words in such a unique and interesting way to get the image across and the thought process across. Mm. Makes me excited to see what Villeneuve's going to do with it. Although I am assuming the movie's going to be very different from this. But I really, no. Had a great time. Frank Gilbert with Dune, I love Dune. With this, I think now he's gone. He's one of my favorite writers. He's definitely one of my. Anyway, I already suspect he's going to be one of my favorite writers just after Dune. Like, that's so good. But now with this one, he solidified it. Like he's in the top 5 for sure. For sure, I'm convinced of that. I'll move on to that. So yesterday I picked up my last fantasy and sci-fi read. It was on my TBR for this month. Aria of the Fallen by Andrea Lariche. And it's a novella. And I am, the illustrations in here is great. By the way. Let me show you. There's a beautiful illustration. I don't know, is that almost? I don't know. Maybe that's just pictures of people. Even that, look at that. There's a cool illustration there. Look, awesome. Yeah. That's one of the ones I can show. There are other ones I cannot show you. Okay. I'm at page 47 of Aria of the Fallen by Andrea Lariche. And I started yesterday, so it reads pretty quick. There's only 150 pages. So if it keeps going like this, I'm probably going to finish this as well early in the week, and I'm going to have to move on to something else. But we'll get to that now. To do. It's unfair to this book, man. Unfair. But I mean, I feel sorry for Andrea. Like, the first time I'm reading one of her books, it's in the same month that I read a Joseph Conrad book, Frank Herbert, and Steven Erikson. I mean, that is mean when you go like talk about prose and going up against some heavyweights. Yeah, I started reading it. First of all, Andrea is definitely a solid writer. She's a solid writer. No unnecessary like adverbs and stuff. You know, like if I had other story earlier in the year, well, she really had to complain about the person had such beautiful ideas and stuff, but the writing wasn't up to scratch. It needed an extra editing pass. This doesn't really. This is pretty well done, stripped down, really nice. It is a bit of a female power fantasy, which I mean, and with power fantasies, it works the best for the people who can live into this. So if it's a female power fantasy, usually women will relate to it the best, and they can do it. If it's a male power fantasy, really, so it's not quite. It's harder for me to relate, but I am like intrigued, and I am enjoying some of the characters. I'm enjoying more than others, or more interesting. There are stuff like I feel like even in this short, there are stuff like I feel like okay, you didn't have to explain it that much. I got the gist of what you were doing. You didn't have to give me 2 more lines on why what the point is. So it does sometimes feel a little bit hating over the head, even again. But I am not hating it at all. I am enjoying it. Fascinating. The prose, or like you said, the descriptions are solid. The dialogue is okay. It's nothing brilliant, but it's also not too cliche. So it gets there. And I mean, I'm only 47 in, and it's a fast story, so it goes fast. It's not like it can't take its time and stuff. So I'm curious how I'm going to feel about this next week. I'll likely be done with it because like I said, the first day I read it, and I'm at page 47 already because it goes pretty fast. Yeah. So that was it. If I finish that sooner, and I will finish that before the end of the week. So, but I don't know how many days will still be left for the week. But I will then be picking up Solo Leveling Volume 4 and get into that. So that's it. That was it. That is everything I read this week and what I'm going to read for the week ahead. What have you been reading? What have you been doing? Are you a fan of Saga? If you picked up Saga yet, you better. You better. And look at me. I'm picking up One Piece because you guys are. When I say you guys, my nephews. So now I'm asking, pick up Saga. It's really one of the greatest comics of all time. And the characters are brilliant and fascinating, and I love them so much. And the world is so vivid and beautiful. But okay, let's move on then. Let's get this thing wrapped up. I want to go reading. You should be reading. This is a Sunday, by the way. Okay, you see me on Wednesday. But I'm on a Sunday. Sunday is my reading day. Okay, you understand that? Sunday is my reading day. So why are you interrupting? I'm very unhappy with you right now. I'm very unhappy that you are actually making me do this stuff on my reading day. So let's just finish it. I am the Anonymous Librarian. You can call me Al, but you don't have to call me at all. Maybe subscribe. Definitely like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment if you want to, a short one. What are you reading? What do you want to read? Is anything I'm reading sounding fascinating? Does anybody know Yokohama Kadashi Kiko? Do you think I'm going to love it? That would be awesome if you let me know about it. The 2 people that watch this thing. So sometimes the 2 people. It really is. At this point, I'm really just doing this for myself, right? But that's fine. I don't even care anymore. I don't even care anymore. I do care. I'm trying to educate you. I do actually care. I'm really trying to educate you. But now I have to go read. You have to go read. Go grab something. Bye. Bye. Bye.